Hi everyone, Nick Latrenta here, continuing with my series, Best Big Men in Professional Wrestling. And for this video, we are going to talk about the man they call Vader, Leon White. I encourage you also to check out my other videos, Walking with Creation and Wrestling with Faith, where I talk about professional wrestlers who have come to Christian faith and their testimonies. Vader, I believe, is one of those guys, Leon White. I've definitely heard this anecdotally. I don't know if he has like a testimony out there somewhere. I'm going to try to find one, and if he does, I'll put him with my Wrestling with Faith series. I'm pretty sure he was a Christian, and I know that Sting visited him a lot in his last days before he passed. Sting, Steve Borden, a wonderful human being from what I've heard, and he's on my Wrestling with Faith series as well, so I encourage you to check that out. But on to the big man, Vader. So Vader was typically billed 6'5". I don't think he was that tall, probably more like 6'2.5", 6'3", I would say. And his billings were interesting. Now, one of his sons posted on social media that he said his father told him the heaviest he ever got was 417 pounds, which is pretty heavy. He was advertised in WWF as usually 456, 458. I'm not sure what he was advertised in as in WCW or Japan, where he wrestled a lot. But I think he was always around that 400-pound mark. I actually think he was a bit less in his WWF days, maybe like 350 to 400. Regardless, huge guy and incredibly athletic. Now, in my opinion, for heavy set wrestlers, I think he was the most athletic possibly of all time. I mean, he could do a nearly perfect moonsault at his size, which I find absolutely incredible. And also, some pros and cons for other things he did. So Vader, one of my kind of criticisms of his character, particularly when he was in WWF, was he let people slam him way too often, pick him up, suplex him. I think he kind of did that everywhere he went. And I could probably, off the top of my head, think of almost a dozen people in WWF that body slammed him, let alone other companies. Now, like we talked about in other videos, it takes a lot of power and strength from both guys to do those moves. So when someone slams someone else in wrestling, it's not like they're lifting dead weight. They help each other do it. So you have to be incredibly athletic, I think, to be on the receiving end of a body slam, a suplex, things like that. And Vader did these things very, very often. Suplexes, German suplexes, slams. I remember Bret Hart superplexing him off the top rope. He let people kind of catch him in midair and power slam him from the top rope, which really was probably all Vader just doing the move, and they just followed the motion. Incredibly athletic human being for his size. I heard somewhere he was able to walk on his hands at one point. I remember seeing a vignette where he's on a trampoline and he like does a flip on the trampoline. I just wish he didn't let people pick him up and throw him around so much, because I think when that happens too often, it takes away from the big man character. Like, I remember when I started watching WWF and I watched all these old tapes, it was like rare that a big man was picked up, and Vader let people do it to him almost all the time. So I wish he didn't do that, because I think it kind of took away the specialness of his size in some ways. But that takes nothing away from his athleticism. An incredibly gifted athlete at his size, and an incredibly gifted wrestler. I always loved watching him. I did hear, I've heard of various shoots that he was very stiff and things like that. Pros and cons to every human being, right? But always fascinating to watch the big man, Leon White, Vader.